Very good evening, Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Sai Satcharita Parayan. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Sai Satcharita, the life and teachings of Shirdi, Sai Baba, will continue from where we stopped, chapter 32, the greatness of the Guru. My obeisance to Shri Ganesh, to Shri Saraswati and Shri Guru Maharaj, to the family deity, to Shri Sita Ramachandra. My most humble obeisance, I bow in reverence to the most venerable Guru, Shri Sai Nath. We stopped at verse 134 yesterday, but I will begin with the story once again so that we know what are we discussing. That is from verse 130 onwards. This is about the story yesterday where Baba was talking about how one should not do fasting, one should seek God with full stomach, which means you have to eat first and then seek God. You cannot seek God by fasting and doing all sorts of ritualistic stuff here, which means it's mentioned that you cannot eat in excess, or you cannot even say I will fast for the whole day and then I'll only meditate on God. That is not going to happen. So let us see what Baba is teaching here. In short, only when all the bodily organs have the strength can God be worshipped properly. But when they become emaciated for want of food, they cannot progress towards the spiritual goal. But eating in excess is not beneficial either. Eating in moderation is what benefits truly. Fasting moderately always brings on great suffering. Fasting immoderately. My apologies. Fasting immoderately always brings on great suffering. We discussed this yesterday, but I'm just continuing so that you get the complete gist of where we are heading. A lady once came to Shirdi with great enthusiasm for Sai's darshan and was armed with a letter to Kelkar. The lady had made a firm resolve in her mind to sit at Maharaj's feet, observing a fast for 3 days. Ultimately, she had to keep her resolve to herself. According to Baba's usual practice, he who wants to tread on the spiritual path should first make sure of his bread. But the lady's resolve ran to the contrary. He who wishes to meet God should first eat food. For unless the mind is content, how can God be discovered? Absolutely. I think we discussed this at length yesterday. So let us continue. Never is it possible, even to the end of time, that God can be reached on a hungry stomach. And as for Sai, he would never permit the straits of fast, etc. Absolutely. Even my Guruji will say, first you must eat and then seek God. Otherwise, your mind is always going to be craving for food. And most important, you cannot eat in excess, neither you can eat immoderately. So the word is you have to eat in moderation, and that too a holistic meal. You must eat sattvic food. And like I mentioned, my Guruji has given a very in-depth explanation about the eating habits as prescribed by Lord Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. You should go listen to his satsangs, which is all mentioned on Krishna Knows. Maharaj intuitively knew everything already on the previous day and had said to Dada Kelkar, now on a festive occasion like this Shimaga, the holy festival, will my children go hungry? How will I allow it? Why am I here then? No sooner had these words come from Sai's mouth than this lady arrived at Shirdi the very next day. Her surname was Gokhale, and as mentioned above, she had made a resolve in her mind. She deposited her bundle at Dada's place. Having given him the letter, she arrived. Kashibai Kanitkar, being a relation of Dada, had given the letter requesting him to arrange for the lady to have Baba's darshan. The lady arrived in Shirdi and at once went for Baba's darshan. Having had the darshan, she had hardly rested for a moment when Baba began instructing her. Whatever the innermost thoughts in anybody's mind, Sainath knows them all. There is nothing on this earth that he does not know. Food and the one who eats it are both forms of Lord Vishnu. Vishnu Sahasranam Stotra 205, it is mentioned. Fasting and taking nirlep food, remaining without food and even without water. Why all this futile botheration? And where is the need for us to fast? So said Baba to this lady, all on his own. Go to the house of that Dada Bhatt Kelkar and happily make the Puran Polis. Puran Polis is a Maharashtrian dish. You can go look it up. So it's a very, very famous Maharashtrian dish made out of the lentils, that's the dal, and jaggery. And then it is the Puran is a stuffing, which is a sweet stuffing, and then it is, you make the dough in wheat and you place it, you stuff in the dough and then you make like a flat bread. So that's what Puran Poli means. And this is Lord Shri Krishna and many other great gurus, a very famous dish. You can go check out this on YouTube. Feed them to his children and eat them yourself to your heart's content. Interestingly, the festival was that of Shimaga, and by a strange coincidence, the lady had arrived on that very day that Dada's wife was unable to touch anything due to her periods. The lady's enthusiasm for fasting melted away. Instead, she had to cook a meal, but she obeyed Baba's command very lovingly. Bowing reverentially at Baba's feet, she then went to Dada's house and cooked the feast with Puran Polis, which she served everyone and also ate herself. What a fascinating story indeed. What a summing up of the deep significance it carries. Once you repose such steadfast faith in the Guru's word, can your upliftment be far behind? This is a very, very important lesson. See, we have our own ways of doing things. We come with certain preconceived notions, certain mindset, all that is acquired, and we have taken it from our parents, grandparents who have just followed it blindly. And we also have continued to follow without questioning our parents. And they themselves don't know. You know why? Because they never question. So when you meet the Guruji breaks away all these, whatever the preconceived notions you have about something, the kinds of things that you have been following, which is baseless. He breaks all that off. Simply because if you have to evolve on the path of spiritual, you need to understand what is right practice and what is the one which your Guru ordains you to do. And that is exactly what you must do. I'm going to give this example of my own self. In fact, I have already narrated this example, so I'm not going to go in detail. I'm just going to give in a very short, quick story. When I met my Krishna Guruji, he literally crushed all my belief system, because I was believing in very much about what the people in the world like astrologers and who prescribe a lot of ritualistic practice. And even I've observed, be it in my friend's home or people around me, and I have listened to a lot of people talking about how you should do fasting, including this body's parents, relatives, everybody, they observe fast. And they said on any festival, I've seen my mother from day one, whatever, she has always done fasting. So it could be a festival like Diwali, Lakshmi Puja, or very important festivals. On that day, she will not have breakfast. And she will fast from morning till the time the puja is not finished. She will make the Naivedya, offer it to the god, finish the puja, and only then have her meal. But this is what Baba is saying, you cannot do something like that. So when I met my Krishna Guruji, he was saying, who has taught you all this? Have you ever questioned why are they doing this? It is the first thing that he asked me, why should you fast? Give me an answer. Why do you fast? What do you get by fasting? And that is when it hit me really hard. Oh my God, yes, I have never questioned why should we fast. This was not the question that I've ever asked my parents or anybody, the relatives, people around who have been doing all these things, or any of these learned pundits in temples. They all do the same thing, but never ever question why should you do that. And then my Guruji says, see, God is not the way you think God is. He's within you. He's everywhere around you. So what makes you think you can see God in empty stomach? And during one of the Diwali times, one of the Diwali festivals, during the Lakshmi Puja, he made me break that myth of mine, or whatever that misconceptions that I've had about fasting, like you don't do certain things, only so that he can explain to me and give me the practical experience that when you do these things, you're not going to achieve anything. On the contrary, when I obeyed, like how she did in this story, she made puran polis and then she ate that. She also ate them to her heart's content. So likewise, when my Guruji instructed me, please don't follow all this and come, let's go here and have a lunch, I went with him and did exactly what we wanted me to do. With that, I was able to overcome such beliefs in my life. And today I don't follow any of those things. I exactly do what my Guruji ordains us to do. An example, like I mentioned yesterday, in Krishna Ashram, we do fasting, but we do eat food that we call it fasting food, like sabudhana khichdi. That is the fasting food. So you eat that and then you do your, preparations for the puja. That is how we work. So never ever after meeting my Guruji have I ever gone fasting, being on empty stomach and trying to, seek God. It's not going to work. So here, the other most important lesson here is, your Guruji is going to break that myth. Are you going to obey him or say, no, I have to do fasting? Are you going to stand by what you believe? But in this case, she very beautifully accepted Baba's ordain and his command. She went and prepared the puran polis, and she not just offered it to everybody, but she herself ate it. Which means, what is mentioned here? It is simply mentioned here that can her spiritual progress can ever be stopped? Of course not. It's going to go on. So it's said, right? Once you surrender humbly at the feet of a saint, the heart will become purified. Not just that. Once you repose such steadfast faith in the Guru's words, can your upliftment be far behind? The only way for your upliftment to happen is when you follow the words of the Guru to the T. You must listen to him and do everything that he ordains you to do. Don't let your mind, show its self-conceit or deceit and try to delude you and question and raise doubts. Never ever do that, because that is not going to give you spiritual progress. Obeying the command of the Guru is extremely important. That is why I'm emphasizing on this, because I have experienced personally myself, when I have not obeyed the command of my Guruji, I have suffered terribly. So never ever get into that situation, please. It is extremely critical that you obey your Guru's words. Yes, he is always going to, come and save you, because he is that compassionate one. He's the universal mother. He is my Krishna Ma, because that mother who knows his child is mischievous, his child is ignorant, they are bound to make mistakes, yet he will come and protect them. That is the greatness that mother carries. Yes, of course he did save me, but that doesn't redeem me from what I did, which is I should always listen to the words of my Guruji and exactly follow what he's asking me to do. This is extremely very important. And as you evolve on the path of spiritual, you'll understand how important that is. Because when you obey the command, you will be able to progress faster on your path of spiritual. Otherwise, you're going to delay everything. So let's come back and see what happened now. So it says, what a fascinating story indeed. What a summing up of this deep significance it carries. Once you repose such steadfast faith in the Guru's word, can your upliftment be far behind? Sai Samarth also remembered another similar story which he narrated to all his devotees very lovingly. Listen to it very carefully, all listeners. He who aspires to spiritual progress has to make arduous efforts be prepared for a deep sadhana, and also needs a little venture. Then this nectar of good stories washed off the saint's feet should always be taken for one's own good. Once you surrender humbly at the feet of a saint, the heart will become purified. Absolutely. Most important. Like they're all hand in glove process. Again, I'll remind you, when you're on the path of spirituality, what does your Guruji does? He cleanses your heart and your mind so that the surrender can happen completely. So when you surrender 100% unto the lotus feet of your Guru, then your heart is absolutely purified and your mind too. But before even surrender happens, the mind and the heart has to be purified. Otherwise, you're not going to surrender. So it's like, two sides of the same coin. So you have to go do the parallelly. It's not one at a time, right? The cleansing process has to happen, and you have to make an effort to surrender yourself. Never let your mind come in way. So when you surrender, the Guru takes charge of you completely, and then it is not your problem, then it is his problem of taking you ahead on the path of spiritual. Your job is only to keep doing. And here, the most important line here, I'm going to read it again. He who aspires to spiritual progress has to make arduous effort. Be prepared for a deep sadhana and also needs a little venture. See, this deep sadhana, it's not sadhana, or it just doesn't say, oh, I'll just do one day practice. No, deep. The word here is, the emphasis on the word is deep. Why deep? Because it's not one day. You have to put in a lot of effort. So that's what it says, arduous effort with deep sadhana. So your sadhana has to be deep. It's not like superficial or just doing for the heck of your doing it. You can't. Sadhana means every single day you have to practice till the time someday you will get there. You're not going to make it on day one. Today's satsang of my Guruji in Das Bodh, which Samarth Ramdas Maharaj has taught, is one of the most powerful satsangs that I've heard. And this whole satsang summarizes how easy it is to attain spiritual will just like that, if you can follow every word that my Guruji taught today from the Das Bodh, Samarth Ramdas's scripture. That satsang, you must go listen, and I recommend to everybody, please go listen to this satsang. Those who are listening here, you must listen and contemplate on the satsang that my Guruji gave today. Because if you can do that, I'm telling you, spiritual will is like that to attain. You don't even have to put in so much effort. In the sense, you don't have to do tapascharya, you don't have to penance, nothing. And the lesson is very simply this. I'm just going to summarize what the lesson is all about. It talks about how do you become divine. In that, my Guruji is teaching what Samarth Ramdas has taught. He's saying we have to be our good self. We have to be an example. We have to be the epitome of goodness. We have to be that epitome of love. We have to represent everything that defines a godly being and not a mean human being. And in that, he's very clearly saying, look, people can behave in whatever way they want, but you must always be, forgiving them. Because everybody makes mistake. If you can do that, somebody else is also doing that. You need to just ignore that and only see the good side in every person's, in every individual. You cannot you cannot talk bad about them. You cannot see the negative side of them. You cannot see what is that they are lacking. You can't see all of that. On the contrary, you should only see the goodness. And most important, when you are evolving on the path of spiritual, yes, there are different kinds of people you come across, but doesn't mean that anybody is bad. They're not born bad. Nobody is born bad. And you don't need to be judging anybody. Everybody is given a nature. In fact, he did this in Uddhav Gita Satsang, and also last week in Bhagavad Gita, and Samarth Ramdas Maharaj's Satsang itself. In this, it's mentioned that the nature is born out for a certain purpose. The whole satsang he began with, there is a purpose of your existence, and a nature, associating with the purpose is given to you. So this body has a purpose, and associated to that purpose, I've been granted that nature. But that doesn't mean I have to use that nature for going down, but I need to use that nature to become divine. godly. My Guruji will always say this, you have been given this anger as a nature, not so that you can get angry and be bad to anybody, or get angry with me and fight with me. No, the anger is given so that you have to serve a purpose. That anger is important, so keep it, just control it, just let it hibernate and be there. When the time is right, when that anger is required, you will have to use that to fight and win in this world for the goal which is going to be the benefiting this entire universe. It's for doing some good in this world, not that you so that you can fight with me or anybody else. No, anger is not for that. Anger is there for a purpose alone. So you should not use it to do harm to anybody. Your nature has to be in such a way that you have to spread love, spread joy. When people look at you, they should say, oh, she's good. And not just one or two person. This is exactly what he mentioned in today's satsang. He said it is not that people who like you will say, oh, she's very good. No. Everybody should give you that credit, saying that she is very good or he is very good. You need to earn that. How will you earn? By first living those lessons. Like today, after listening to the satsang, I went and told my Guruji, I'm completely, I'm going to withdraw myself. I've failed here. I've failed miserably because I do get angry. I make those mistakes. And that time he said, you think everybody gets to that position or they attain that on day one? No, this is your training ground. You have to put effort, deep sadhana. The word is deep here. You have to put our doers effort and do deep sadhana, which means we have to practice. It is not going to come just like that. My Guruji said very beautifully that day one we cannot attain. He said, most important thing, to have equanimity of mind is a big thing, but we always see the right and wrong, good and bad. That is constantly going to be there, but you have to practice. Someday you will get there, and you have to see God in everybody. And in this most important, my Guruji is taught that you have to always appreciate people for their goodness. You have to spread love. You have to be that incense stick who spreads the fragrance of love, the goodness, the divinity. And most important, if you're getting this knowledge of divine, what it is to be divine, what it is to be on spiritual, you have to go talk the same thing and spread that goodness to other people as well. It's not just you get this and you keep it with you. No. And most important, not just getting the knowledge helps you, but you have to apply that knowledge. You have to live these words. Otherwise, there is no point. It's like I'm a parrot, I'm just going to jabber. I'm going to repeat exactly what is taught to me, but without an understanding of what those words mean. So most important, you have to spread this joy that you are getting from this being divine. So spread the goodness, tell everybody what is the significance of being in spiritual, how great is to go on the path of spiritual, why should they do it. So that is the fragrance you have to spread, the fragrance of goodness, the fragrance of love, this fragrance of divinity, the godliness, the spirituality. So that is what we have to do. So my Guruji was telling me, so don't worry, you think you're just not here, saying that you will withdraw. Is that what you're going to do? No, you have to practice. You're in the training ground. So you have to go through the process, experience it, understand it. We're going to make mistakes, we're going to fall, but get up and walk again, run again. That is most important. Apply that knowledge. Do not forget this one word, be your good self. You know how profound that is? What it means to be your good self? And he was also saying, it's not just that, you think being your good self, you will earn some merit here. No, only then you will get entry in the heaven, wherever you're going to go. The gods are going to watch you. They have to, welcome you because you were a very good being. If you have been bad and mean and wicked to other people, know that you're going to pay for it. The gods are going to treat you badly. So never treat anybody badly. Never hurt anyone. Never hurt anybody's feelings. Please do not, it's a very beautiful saying, don't do to others what you don't want others to do to you. So if you want everybody to be good to you, you first be good to others. Even if others are doing bad, you need to be good. And this is a very, very important lesson. This is what my Guruji has been teaching. And today I felt like, oh my God, many a time though we understand this lesson, see, be your good self is understood by everybody. Everybody has to be good. It is not only me because I'm in spiritual that it matters. Yeah, I have to be good all the time. That is my responsibility, because otherwise there is no point in being in spiritual. But most important lesson for everybody here, the foundation is just be your good self. Be good. Goodness is not, goodness is not difficult. To being good is not difficult. So why are we, being mean or wicked people? Why do we have to be bad to somebody? If somebody is behaving in a bad way or they're saying something to you, we get angry and we want to double, give back in more than what they have given you, and you want to hurt them. It's okay. See, people can be ignorant, they are ignorant and they make mistakes. But you be the God, you be divine. Why can't you live those lessons? This is what my Guruji has taught me. Never once my Guruji has taught anybody to be mean or bad or anything. Sometimes I feel sad that when I get angry, I am representing my Guruji in a bad light. I feel horrible. Saying sorry is not going to take that away, because my Guruji is epitome of goodness, love incarnate. To him, everybody is unique. I mean, it's the same. He loves everybody in this entire universe in the same manner. And of course, he says, right, what he teaches me, look, everybody has not got that spiritual knowledge from me, but you people are getting this knowledge. So for you, it applies even more than anybody else. So you need to live these lessons. So don't become bad. Why should, he'll ask me a very beautiful question. What is the legacy that you want to live? Saying that people will want to comment, oh, you were angry or you would fight with everybody? No. Let the world behave. Let them fight. Why should you fight? Fight for doing something good in this world. But you don't have to fight just because somebody's saying something or somebody's talking out of the sheer ignorance. You don't need to do that. Be that mother. The mother is that ocean. Like he is, my Guruji is that universal mother who's Athanga Sagar, who accommodates everybody, He, no matter who they are, how they behave, he knows, he understands that is because of their nature, they are behaving like that. But everybody has godliness in them. That is what he sees. To practice that is reaching the highest spiritual being. If you can do all of this, there is nothing more for you to achieve in this life. You have attained the divine just like that. This is all Lord Shri Krishna has taught in Bhagavad Gita. And when you keep doing your, serving your purpose and keep doing your duties in a righteous manner, you don't even have to bother after that. The divine Lord is always with you. Where there is righteousness, there is goodness, there is grandeur, there is glory. Lord Shri Krishna always is there with you. Please understand. He very clearly mentions in Bhagavad Gita. So why do you want to be your mean? Don't never show your mean self. Show your good self to everybody. Yes, we all have to go through this process of purifying ourselves till this knowledge doesn't enter you and hit you. Yes, I must become this. Then you're not going to do it. So take it as your challenge. Take this as your life goal, that I have to be my good self. Control your anger. And my Guruji also says, right, one is to preach, the other thing is to practice and live. So if I don't practice what I am preaching here, then I am not fit to be sitting here and even talking these words. And never talk bad about anybody behind. Yes, when we get angry, we do want to say things. You're just being bad, and many a time you complain to your master or anybody around you. You talk bad, but that is not right. That is not a righteous action. So my Guruji says, when you do even commit one action like that, one kritya like that, you're falling down. You're coming behind. You must have climbed 10 steps, one step ahead, but you will come back 10 steps behind. Do you want that? Why are you cutting your own progress? You don't cut your legs with your own hands. So don't stop your progress. So continue. So this is what I wanted to convey here, because this is a very important lesson. How do you become godly? Spirituality is not tough when you can live these, but these lessons are the most difficult one to live. Why? Because our mind is always tuned to be bad, to see the downside, to be constantly throw doubts. and make you into a very negative being. But to being godly, you need to train the mind. You need to make it to show you always the upside of life and not the downside of life. Please go listen to my Guruji Satsang today, the Das Bodh. You will understand what it means to be in spiritual and what it takes to attain goodness in this world and godliness. So let us come back. The nectar of good stories, washed off the saints' feet, should always be taken for one's own good. Once you surrender humbly at the feet of the saint, the heart will become purified. Once, when I was small, stinting on my own needs, I set out in search of a job for my livelihood. As I walked on, I came to Beadgaon, where I rested for a while. But my fakir had a different plan for me, which brought me great happiness. There, I secured a job of doing jari work. I worked untiringly and all my toil came to fruition. Such is the power of the fakir. There were 4 other boys employed before me and much acclaimed for their skill. They too were working there and their work was assessed on completion. One had put in work worth rupees 50. Another worth rupees 100 and the third one worth rupees 150. But my work was worth double their amount. Seeing my skill, my employer was very pleased and being fond of me, praised me highly. He presented me with a dress consisting of a turban over the head and a sheela to take over the body. But the moment it was given, I just tied it in a bundle and put it away. How can that suffice? Which somebody gives you. However much it is always inadequate. But when God gives something, it has no end, even to the end of time. What my master gives me is real giving. How can anyone else compare with it ever? How can the limited lend distinction to the boundless? Absolutely. See, what your Guruji bestows, what the Divine Master gives, that is incomparable to anything that you get from anybody. Even the smallest of the thing that comes from the hand of the Divine is so pure. It's a blessing. It's a grace. My Guruji will give everybody, be it a scripture, he will give something small things, or it could be even blessing from him, the money, whatever that he gives, even the chocolates that he gives or the food from his hand, everything is counted as prasad. It comes with blessing. That's so holy. It is absolutely holy. And when you keep it with you, or when you even eat the prasad or whatever that is, right, everything is going to do good to you. And some way or the other, it is only towards your spiritual development. That is the greatness of these great masters. They always bless you in so unique ways that you can't even fathom. My master says, take this away. Everyone says, give only to me material things. But no one heeds my words. No one listens to me attentively. My Guruji also was saying, one day he was sitting here and doing satsang, and after that, he was just talking. And in that, he just mentioned very casually, I wish everybody listens to me and does exactly what I instruct them. That was very deep. I said, why are you saying this? Suddenly, he was just talking to himself, and I just overheard. I asked him, why are you saying this? I only wish, because they don't understand. When they don't follow, they are delaying too many things, and they are, they're putting the clock backwards. Things are not going to go ahead, and then what has to happen is not going to happen. Then something else is going to happen. Nobody understands the reason why I say to do things in time and not to become lazy. Again, one of the most important lessons that he gave today was, please don't get into tamas. Don't become lazy. Don't get into inertia, lethargy. You have to put tremendous amount of effort to overcome your letharginess, laziness. Don't get into tamas. Don't become tamasic in nature. You have to fight and overcome. We give n number of reasons why I can't get up, why I can't do things in time. No, you have to work hard. And that is why it says deep sadhana. and arduous effort. Do not forget this. His treasury is overflowing, but no one cares to bring the cards. Nobody will dig when asked to do so. No one bothers to make the effort. Absolutely. What is the treasure? His treasury is overflowing. What is this treasure? The treasure is the knowledge which you can redeem yourself. The Guru is the knowledge incarnate. He is Sachidanand, truth, knowledge, and bliss. So he is ready. Opened his arms. He's opened his tijori. Tijori is that, where you keep all your precious gems, wealth, everything, right? So he has the tijori with him, and he is very much willing to just bestow upon you. But nobody comes to take this treasure, which is priceless. People only want material things. Here, somebody is sitting there waiting to give. He only wants that one person who is going to be very sincere and truthful to the receiving the treasure from the Guru. And my Guruji will always say, I'm searching for that one. I wish I have that one. Sometimes I keep saying, I'm the one. No, please first become that. Then we'll talk. To be that one is not a joke. You need to prove your worth. Again, the words are arduous effort, deep sadhana, and being your good self. And today he's given this whole explanation of what it takes to be your good self. It is not a joke, okay? It's absolutely not a joke. But if you can do that, nothing like it, and your life will be redeemed. It is worth. This existence of you will become absolutely blessed. So he's saying, but no one cares to bring their cards. What is mentioned? Baba saying, I can give card full loads of, many loads of card full of this treasure, but nobody is bringing their card. They don't even want to take this treasure that I own. Unfortunately, all they want is the material worldly wants. What is there in material worldly things? Nothing. Today I wear a sari, tomorrow this is gone. But what can remain with me? The only thing that can remain with me is that knowledge, the truth, that love and bliss. Nothing else. Knowledge about what? Knowledge about the truth. That the only thing which is ultimate to achieve in this world is, God realization. Nothing more than that. You don't have to get any fame, name, nothing. What is there in all of that? It's all very transitory. Everything will go away. But what remains with you is that bliss, that Sachidanand is all that will remain with you. So aspiring to attain that is very important. But don't make it a desire. The end goal should be that. And you have to just keep doing what you're supposed to do. If it has to come to you, it will anyways come to you. But your doing is a must. Effort is yours. Sadhana is yours, not mine. Likewise, I have to do my own sadhana. I have to put that effort and walk the path as instructed by the Guruji. How can anyone else compare with it ever? Sorry. But no one heeds my words. Master says, take this away. Everyone says, give only to me material things. But no one heeds my words. His treasury is overflowing, but no one cares to bring the cards. Nobody will dig. When asked to do so, no one bothers to make the effort. That is what it is. You have to dig. Dig means what? You have to go deep, digging non-stop. Like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa Ji has said a very beautiful story. He says there is a person who is a woodcutter. So he says, go dig deeper. When you go dig, right? So first he finds a copper mine. Then he says, go further. Keep digging. Don't stop. Then he goes ahead and digs. Then he finds, silver mine. Then he further goes. He finds gold, then platinum, then gems, whatever. So he keeps going ahead. You discover different wealth. That wealth is that knowledge. The wealth is of what the spiritual revelation. What is spirituality all about? So the subject goes deeper. So you have to keep digging. But do we dig? No, we just want at a surface level. And nobody wants to even put that effort to dig. Digging means effort, right? You have to physically work hard for it. It's not somebody cannot dig it for you. You have to dig for yourself. To discover that wealth. To discover the different things that is there, waiting for you. So you have to go and unravel it. How beautiful it is. So no one bothers to make the effort. I say dig for the wealth and carry it away by the cart loads. Only he will collect the treasure who is truly his mother's son. And what, after all, is our fate? Dust will return to the dust, and the wind to the wind, and this opportunity once lost will never come back. What is mentioned here is this body will die and it will go back to the elements. Then it will not come back again, right? So, I mean, in the sense, you have lost that opportunity. Then you might not get a human birth at all. You might then become a cockroach or something else. You might become a bird. You will go and take any other form. So getting a human birth is a rare thing, and it comes after attaining many years of attaining a loads of merit. You have to earn that merit to get a human birth. So why lose this opportunity? Make use of this. This is what Baba is saying here. However, the skill of my fakir, the leela of my Bhagavan, the harmonious consistency of my master is something quite different, quite unique. However, the skill of my fakir, the leela of my Bhagavan, the harmonious consistency of my master is quite different, quite unique, absolutely. The master is always in harmony. Why? Because he's one with the self. He's just in the pure bliss. You know what is bliss meaning? Bliss doesn't mean it's some intoxication state, or bliss doesn't mean that he's some. I can't even describe. In terms of happiness, bliss is not happiness. Bliss means he's an avaduta. He's free from everything in this material world. For him, he doesn't even have to get anything. He doesn't have a family. He doesn't have a home. He has nothing associated with his name. He's an avaduta. This entire universe is his family. This entire creation is his family. This entire, wherever he roams, that is his own home. That's how he lives. And he's an avadut. He can go anytime, anywhere. He can even go naked. Nobody can question him. That is what he's attained. He's not worried about somebody saying good to him, somebody's praising him, or somebody's talking bad about him and abusing him. It doesn't even matter. He's free. He doesn't matter, oh, tomorrow what should I eat? What should I wear? He doesn't know where the food comes the next hour. He begs. He takes alms. What kind of freedom is that? But to become that, first you need to be eligible. We cannot go and beg. And we have a bloated ego. Oh, why should I go beg? No. So this is the way the great masters live. They have nothing to achieve. That they are the Lord Almighty. Always living in that harmonious consistency. What does it mean? Consistency means all the time. Consistently. It doesn't mean they are getting swayed with the pairs of opposite or by what is happening around them or how people are behaving around them. Nothing affects them. They are in that serene, harmonious manner all the time. But they just show their, like my Guruji will show different reactions when he teaches, when he's teaching different people. But that is only a portrayal. It's the way they, talk to your mind. They portray something because you're watching them. So they are talking to your mind. But if you see them, if you observe the great masters, they are in that blissful state, harmoniously, in harmony with everything, consistently at all times. Not a single moment that they get disturbed by anything that is happening around them. That is the perfect state that they are always in. The harmonious consistency of my master is something quite different, quite unique. I too go somewhere sometimes. I just go and sit down at the same place, but the mind is caught in the bewilderment of Maya and suffers a dip or plunge as of a bird or paper kite. That's exactly what I mentioned earlier. I too go somewhere sometimes. I just go sit down at the same place. But the mind is caught in the bewilderment of Maya and suffers a dip or plunge. That's what happens to us because we're always seeing what's happening around. Why? Because when the sense comes in the contact with the sense object, it reacts. It's not the mind that comes first. Your senses, your sense organs and your senses are coming in contact with the sense object. And the moment it comes in contact with the sense object, then the mind comes. So that's the reaction. It is all everything to do with what you see, what you hear, what you touch, taste, all that are senses. So the when it comes in contact with the sense object, then the mind comes, the reaction is happening. Yes, I know it's a sweet, you eat something sweet, oh, it's yummy. And then you eat something bitter, oh, I don't like it, it's bitter. See the reactions? Because you're tasting, then the taste is already, and their mind is, then it comes and says, oh, I like it or I don't like it. So you have to cut that mind coming there. So there should be no reaction. Then it's very beautifully said, right? When in chapter 2, it's a very powerful verse where Lord Shri Krishna teaches there how to avoid reacting when the sense organs come into the contact of the sense objects. How you should not let that carry it, let the mind come and get lost in that. So this is what he's mentioning here. So the moment you see something, you're observing, your senses are already reacting to it, then your mind is, saying a lot of things. That is Maya. The bewilderment, it is creating a bewilderment for you. Oh my God, look at that. That person is saying something bad about me. I overheard. Or, oh, this food is tasting so horrible. I can smell it. I can smell something nice. Oh, somebody is making chicken. Somebody is making rabdi. Oh, I can smell. I want to eat. So you're already dwelling in your mind because your mind is giving you that fantastic imagination what's happening, even when you don't even know what's going on. So this is how we react. Or when we are seeing something around us, we are letting our mind make judgments, and then what happens? The tainting of the mind happens. So the moment you see that object, you're already tainted. So stop doing this. Spread love. One of the things my Guruji, when he taught today, the first thing that came up is, why should we behave bad? Why do we need to have animosity? Why should we have this difference of opinion? The end goal is that we all love that one object called God or the Guru, because Guru Sakshat Parabrahma. The Guru and the God are one and the same. Our end goal is that. Isn't that we all have to come together for that one attainment of that sole purpose, which is that God alone, that Guru alone. And we all should work towards that. And he was giving an example of, someone who is always going and, utilizing her Gurudev. She's always praising. She's saying all the beautiful things. She's talking all the goodness of her Gurudev. She's going and spreading this everywhere. So the world is also getting that goodness. Similarly should be our purpose too. We have to talk about the greatness of our Guruji. What is this God all about? Because we are getting this knowledge. And you have to go spread amongst everyone. Those, who have to get will listen to it. And then your life is worth living. And then we all have to come together to celebrate that one. That's the most beautiful thing to do in this world. You don't have to do anything else. Why do we come together to celebrate the divine? Because that spreads happiness. That brings goodness. It purifies us. We are redeeming. We are removing all our karmas. We are washing off our sins. So the purpose has to be for the betterment of this entire universe, for the well-being of everybody, not just I, me, myself. It doesn't mean that only I have to attain God, only I have to be good in this world. No, everybody has to be good. And my Guruji teaches, if somebody is getting something, you must feel happy about that person. Why do you feel jealous? And most important, never feel jealous about another person. What you have to get will anyways come to you. See, we all have come with this prarabdha karma. I tell this many a time. This is what my Guruji also has taught me. What you have to get, and at the right time, you will get it. Actually, in this, Baba also has mentioned, at the Lord's appointed timing, it will come to you. But don't go after that material worldly stuff. Seek for that wealth, the treasure that the Master holds. You must ask and take as many cartloads you want. He's willing to give it. Why are you going after material things? That's exactly what Baba mentioned. Give only to me material things. This is what we human beings ask. We shouldn't ask that. Ask for that knowledge. Make effort, learn, make that your sole purpose in this world. Because having a guru itself is a great thing. And if you do not understand the value, and when he is gone, then what are you going to do? My Guruji will always say, see, today I am there in front of you, so I am able to tell you these things. Then tomorrow when I'm gone, there'll be nobody. Just the thought makes me cry. I'm like, no, you're not leaving me. You might be physically leaving the body and going, but you're there at all times. But that's what I see. And when I hear these words, it's very painful. You know why? Sometimes I just feel, oh my God, am I not realizing the value of what I have right now? Because it's very rare to get this opportunity to live and learn, with the Guru under his tutelage. It's not such a easy. You must be blessed. So everybody gets an opportunity. But if you don't take that opportunity, what use is it? That is what Baba is saying here too. So take that opportunity. Don't waste this human birth and get carried away by this material world. Don't run after wanting. Don't run after greed, desires. Don't give in to it. Be good. This one life, so that live. This very beautiful saying they say, right? When you're born, everybody around you is smiling and you're the only one who's crying. But when you die, you should be the only one who's smiling and everybody around you should cry. That is the life you have to live. You shouldn't make it feel like, oh, what kind of a person I am. Good riddance to the bad rubbish. Nobody should say that to you. That is what my Guruji says. What is the legacy that you want to live in this world? People should remember you for that. For the goodness, for the epitome of love, for the person you are, what you made in this world, a difference to everybody's life. Become that. It's not just me, it's for about everybody else here. You all have to become somebody. My Guruji says, we all have come for a purpose and you need to become the best version of your own self. We are not here to emulate somebody. See, we have to take the goodness in everyone. We have to become good. Most important is when you look at your master, you should just follow him as an example. But take the good from him. Emulate that goodness in you. That is what you have to take it from him. And the legacy that he's going to live is this knowledge, this teachings. And you have to represent that knowledge and the teachings. Otherwise, there is no use. However, the skill of my fakir, the Leela of Bhagan, yes, I finished this. I too go somewhere sometimes. I just go and sit down at the same place. But the mind is caught in the bewilderment of Maya and suffers a dip or plunge as of a bird or paper kite. This Maya is very difficult to overcome and has reduced me to a piteous condition. Day and night, I keep thinking of my own people. As you sow, so you reap. He who will bear in mind the words I have uttered will enjoy priceless happiness. This is what Baba is saying. If you do not understand what is being taught here and if you do not bear in mind, then what can anybody do? It's your fate at the end of the day. So as you sow, so will you reap. Hemad surrenders to Sai. The narration of the story has been unique. When Sai himself gets it done, my ego pales before it. It is he who is the narrator of this tale. He is the reader of it. And he the listener. He alone is the writer and the impelling force behind the writing of it. And it is he alone who explains the significance. Sai is the main character of the story and he is the sweetness in it. He himself becomes the listener and the speaker. And the enjoyer of the bliss is also none other than he. How can the sweetness of such listening ever prove adequate for spiritual progress? Truly fortunate are the devotees who enjoy this happiness. Now, as for the essence of the next chapter, which is the great power of Sai Shirdi, I entreat my listeners to listen to it respectfully. Hemad humbly says that, moved by kindness, Sai Samarth himself has got his own Satcharita written through me, the sweetness of which is unique. So here, Hemad is very beautifully explained. Look, in this, everything that Baba has taught here is his greatness, that knowledge. He himself is the writer, he is the listener, he is the narrator of the tale, and he gets his purpose done. It is not that he's doing it so that, Baba has to become famous or anything. No, the purpose of all of this is to understand the greatness of the Guru, the importance of the Guru in your life, and why do you need a Guru, and who is this Guru, and how do you recognize him, and how do you evolve on the path of spirituality. That is the reason why Baba has narrated this whole beautiful story about himself, and giving examples of some of the devotees and disciples, so that you understand through these beautiful leelas how you should evolve, what are the things you should do and not do, what are the pitfalls, and why it is important to listen to the Guru's words, and how you need to follow that. Everything Baba is written, and here Hemad says it, I'm nobody to write, or and be somebody to say I am writing this or I am narrating this. No, we are all the chosen one, an instrument in the hands of the divine. He chooses them so that he wants that work, his work, to be done in this world for the well-being of this entire universe. They don't have any vested interest that they want to become famous, earn name, fame, recognition. Not at all, not at all. On the contrary, nobody can recognize them. They're always in an incognito state, in an incognito mode, by appearing so ordinary to you. They will appear extremely ordinary, as a very ordinary mortal in this world, and trying to show their inadequacies or physical challenges, saying, oh, I have pain, I'm old. They show their fragile and weak body. None of that. Don't fall for any of those, because they are the great powerhouse. They are the knowledge incarnate themselves. They are not fragile, and they are not confined to that one body which they have manifested into. Please don't go by this and fall for it at any point in time. That is their Maya. That is how they stay and live incognito in this world. Nobody can recognize them without the divine master's grace alone. So if the master has to grant you the grace, he will do it on his own, and he is the one who gives the experience. Nobody is here to get that without his grace. You can't ask for it, you can't demand it. Yes, seeking humbly is always your job. You have to be the seeker, you have to strive hard, put arduous effort, do deep sadhana and many more, and listen and follow his teachings. And if you do not follow and even apply even 1% of that, or forget about 0.1% of that teaching, then this, your life is not worth living. That much I can say. So we are at the end of the hour and we're finishing this chapter. So I'll end here and we'll do the new chapter tomorrow. Thank you for joining Sai Satcharita Parayan. We'll be to all. Here ends the 32nd chapter of Shri Sai Satcharita called The Greatness of the Guru, as inspired by the saints and the virtuous and composed by his devotee Hemad Pant. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Datta. Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Gurunath Nathaya Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum.